Hello, welcome back to Rustaholic. I'm Patrick, and we're still working on my 1969 Pontiac Catalina station wagon. In the last episode, we did finish up the hood. We added filler to it, got it all leveled out and straight, so we're pretty excited there. We also got the fenders all the way back to bare metal. In this episode, we're really going to start trying to prep for primers, which is super exciting. And it sounds like you're almost there when you say it. And then a guy walks around the car and starts putting little pieces of blue tape all over the place of the things he still has to do and realizes we're still quite a ways away. That being said, the tape is there. I went ahead and pre-reviewed this whole car. I taped the crap out of it. And now I know what we need to do. So we're going to get started. I don't know if we're going to finish, but we're going to get started in this episode and try to do as much as we can. Because I think everyone's figured out by this point, I really want to paint this car. I was considering it just putting it in sealer and calling it a day, but I just don't think that's going to do it justice. And I really want to paint it. So that's what we're going to do. And we're already underwater. This is not something you do if you're trying to make money or anything like that. That's not a thing. We're already like so far down. There's no way I'm gonna be able to sell this car for the time and energy I put into it. That's not the point, is it? No. The point is that this car is gonna roll out of here better than when it came in. And at least I'll be able to take solace that I did the best that I could to give it one more chance, and it will fulfill the vision I had for it when I bought it in the first place 16 years ago or 17 years ago or however long it was. So I think that's what we're going to do. So let me give you a quick tour. I'll show you all the stuff that we're going to embark on during this episode, and then you just got to get to it because it's not going to do itself. So alright, let me show you. Let's just start at the beginning of the car here. So we can just see, got some stuff that Citrus Strip didn't take care of, that gonna have to take care of that. I did find a new welding spot. So there's a little hole right there we'll have to take care of. Other than that, this fender is pretty good. If we start at the top here, just some basic stuff, some little detail stuff up in here. This guy, I really don't know what to do here, and I've been ignoring it for a long time. A branch came down during a storm and destroyed the mirror, and it dented the door itself. So the door does naturally go straight across and then up. So it's dented in, and then when the branch rolled over or whatever, it tried to take the mirror with it, which pulled the mirror out. So this part here is pulled out, and this part is pushed in. So I'm just not sure what to do with that. So I might continue to ignore it for this episode, but if you have some ideas, please let me know, because I've considered, you know, stud gun, slide hammer. I've considered just hitting it with a hammer and mudding it. I've considered cutting this whole section out all by itself, straightening it off the car, and then welding it back on. It's kind of where I'm leaning right now, so if you think that's crazy, please let me know. Alright, moving on. So there's this whole section down here. I'm just going to get all that stuff off the mud so it looks more like that. I don't want to redo all the mud that is on this car. That would just take forever. But I think getting this stuff off is probably a good idea. There's a little bit of stuff down here. This could use a little mud in this corner, so probably do that as well. Over here, I've got this whole section set up for Citrus Strip. So we'll Citrus Strip this whole door right here, and we'll get that knocked out. I think this lower panel I'll do by hand, but this top one we'll do with the Citrus Strip. That seems to work pretty good. All of this is going to have to be done by hand, just to make sure I keep the work that I did here with all this mudding intact as well as we can. We don't want to redo that. On the top here, the rail, both inside and underneath, has to be done across the whole car, both sides. Citrus strip didn't get all this out, so we're gonna have to do that any way we can. More over here. Just want to get this all the way down, get all this black stuff off, which was like old Pour 15, I think. Around the corner here, got some stuff in the corner we need to take care of. And at the very bottom, this whole like last inch and a half didn't get hit on the tailgate, so we'll have to do that. For the most part, I'm gonna leave the tailgate alone. I think that's gonna be fine. Top of the car up here does need a little work. I am considering just removing these. I have done that in the past, so it's not a big deal. Might take these off, that way I can get this area here. All of this is mud. And I'm just gonna be totally honest with you. Probably 16 years ago, when I bought the car, this roof came to like right here and was just flapping. It wasn't even connected to the roof at all. It was just a giant hole is what was happening. And so me and a buddy at the time, I didn't have a welder, but we pushed it down, we tack welded it back down, you know, just underneath here. And then we filled it with mud. So it's solid, it's not going anywhere, but it's ugly under there for sure. So we're gonna keep the mud going, but this does need to get re-prepped here so that this is nice and smooth and does what it needs to do. But if some of you are asking, how come you're not pulling off any of this trim? That's why, is because some of this trim is glued in place permanently, and that's just how it's gonna have to be. So we're just gonna continue with that and move on. Also, of course, we're painting this whole car monocolor, so the trim itself is gonna be painted the same color as the car, so it just is what it's gonna be. On this side of the car, a lot of the same. Roof rail, I gotta get inside and underneath as well, across the whole car. And here you can also see, no, not so much here, but you can see I got some filler here. And I have filler here. And I found that, I don't know if you can see that, the filler that's on the top of this rail right here, here is pretty loose, and here is pretty loose. So we're gonna have to dig all that out. Oh, just like that. We gotta dig that out and redo that. And I don't remember why I did that, but I'm sure there's a reason. So we're just gonna redo that because most of it is still good. And of course we'll touch it back up, make sure it's smooth, but we're gonna leave that intact as well. On the side of the car, more hand sanding. Gotta get this looking a little bit better. And over here on the doors, we're gonna do some more citrus strip. So we'll do citrus strip here. We'll do citrus strip on this whole door, because I think this door is pretty much good. And I just decided if there is any mud on this door, we'll just redo it, but I think we'll just citrus strip this whole door. Yeah, and I think this, this guy actually has a matching weld hole. So it did put a little hole at the bottom of the fender on both sides, which is interesting. And then of course, you gotta get in here and sand down all your little grates here that you've got, which is a huge pain, but you have to do it. And that's it. So not that much, sure, whatever. I don't know, I think it's gonna take a long time. But I think the first step is we'll get this citrus strip on where we can, get that cooking, and then see what we can do to fill our time in the meantime. All right, I know that was a lot of talking. Let's get to it. think we're finally at the end of this episode. That was a lot of time lapse, and I really appreciate anybody who stuck around long enough to see the end. But we made a lot of progress. We didn't finish everything. There's still some blue tape that we got to take care of, but we did make some real progress. We pretty much have all of the paint that was left on the entire car is gone. We are down to just bare metal and some filler all the way around. So that's really great that we did that. And this door specifically, from about here down, still had original paint underneath there. And I wish I would have showed you, but I was in the zone, you know. But there was like 3 or 4 different paint jobs going back. And that last one, I got to admit, that citrus strip, I think we did 2 or 3 rounds of citrus strip on this door. It really struggled to get that original paint off. But anyway, we made progress. So we're not ready yet though. Still a lot to do. And I'll give you a quick tour of everything that we did in regular speed this time. And just want to say, really appreciate everybody who's watching the vids. Hopefully you're enjoying it. Please like, comment, subscribe. Really does help keep me motivated. Really trying to get this thing to a better state. And I think we can do it, but it's going to take some more time. Anyway, let's just see what we finished up with today, and we'll catch you on the next one.